You're watching NFT Talk with Brick Astley.
GM, welcome to NFT Talk. I'm your host, Brick Astley. The purpose of this talk show is to highlight one-of-one art on exchange art. Today's guest is an educator, photographer, and Photoshop wizard. JT Liss, welcome to NFT Talk. Exchange Art and I really appreciate you being here today to talk about your work on and off the blockchain.
Thanks a lot, Brick. I appreciate you having me, bro.
The honor's all on mine. Ever since I was introduced to you via the GM show, I've just been a fan of yours, and I'm so super happy to be able to connect with you on a friendly level before this professional level, and really get to know you, because I've seen you come into the exchange art ecosystem and the Solana ecosystem and just absolutely crush it, and deservingly, after putting yourself out there on the spaces. So I'm just very excited about this.
Likewise, man.
So how did you get into photography? For those that are meeting you for the first time, can you give us a little bit on your background?
Yeah. So I basically got into photography about 14 years ago. I moved to New York City at that time, and it was just almost an explosion of this like creative energy that I couldn't deny. And so I didn't have a camera, so I took my mom's point and shoot, and just basically went out all over the city, just listening to music, just kind of started seeing things in like frames. I had to capture these. And I just took thousands and thousands of photos. It started off with like street photography. And then it got to a point where I wanted to differentiate myself in some way. Even when I was taking photos, I was always trying to manipulate the photo. I had like a Dell computer where I just had like the minimal photo editing like tools. It was just like highlights and contrast and shadows, and I would just like move them all over the place to see what I could do with the photo, just to make it look different than it originally did. And that like curiosity led to me wanting to just explore that a little further. So I remember I was just broke at a cafe in like the Upper East Side, and I discovered layering for the first time. And like that was it. When I saw that I can manipulate photos and layer them together and do all this. I mean, you see like the image in the background. This is one of my oldest like pieces. And it was just such a wow moment for me to be able to take photos and just do what I want with them. And then that evolved further to where I got into Photoshop. And then that led to, thousands and thousands of hours of just exploring, making tons of mistakes, and just evolving that style to got where, you see the Face Value series.
Can you tell me what brought you to exchange art for your first collection, Face Value Volume 1?
Well, I initially started on the Ethereum blockchain. I have my Genesis work out on Foundation. And, Ethereum was a really tough egg to crack. It still is. And it's also the point of entry is really difficult. It cost me $1,000 to put up like 4 images. And so, Keegan from the GM show, Goku, and, yourself were talking about it. And I just kept hearing like so many positive things about exchange art and how they were really artist centric. And so I took a look at it, and I spoke to A2K, and, being able to talk to one of the creators with such ease, and being able to DM him and have him get back to you, like you don't get that anywhere else. And so those are really good selling points. And then when I minted, it was just, it felt right, and it was just seeing a lot of just one-of-one artists coming over to that space. And now it's a one-of-one artist specific site, and that's really important for us, because it's getting, mixed up with the PFP projects can be difficult to stand out. But, you have a site and exchange that allows you to specifically look for one-of-one artists. So I really love what they're doing there.
With that being said, Face Value Volume 3 is out now. What keeps you coming back to exchange art to drop these Face Value volumes?
There's not been another platform that has had the point of entry, that has had the improvements and the updates on a regular basis that Exchange has. I think a lot of other sites and a lot of other marketplaces are kind of following the lead of exchange.art. Just every day or every week, it seems like they're just coming up with something new. They're trying to improve things. They're just extremely communicative on any issues. Like I had an issue with minting in the beginning of volume 3, hit up the Discord, they got back to me right away. And it's just, it makes me feel good that they are supporting artists. And so I'm going to continue to support them.
Hey, that's great. We appreciate you coming back and calling Exchange Art your face value home. I want to talk about a couple of one of these pieces. Let's go. Knowledge Reigns. Can you talk to me a little bit about the story behind this one?
Yeah. So Knowledge Reigns is something I created that was, we were in a very difficult time politically. We were in a very difficult time in regards to media and what was believable. The quickness that media and the news has to break a story in order to gain like eyes and viewership takes away from the potential truth that we're being told. And so you see in the background, there's just a lot of newspaper clippings that are almost comical. Like one of them in the back I see right now, it says "man arrested for everything." Like that was like a newspaper clip, and there's just like almost like tabloidy like news articles in the back. And then you have this figure that's standing strong with the crown and the microphone, again, focusing on speaking your truth throughout all the fluff, throughout all of like that background noise. And the Know Your Ledge, it's a sticker I created back when I was trying to be cool with my street artist friends. And it says "Know Your Ledge," and it's an image of a kid reading on a boulder. But I mirrored the boulder. When I mirrored the boulder, it looked like a brain. So the piece started off as like, just knowledge, what is knowledge? And then "Know Your Ledge," which also reverts to "Know Your Personal Legend," which is a phrase from the book The Alchemist. And that was just like a statement I wanted to get across when I created that sticker, was to know your personal legend, know who you are, know what your purpose is, and to speak that purpose and to speak that truth amongst all the, that background noise. So Knowledge Reigns is just a kind of just commentary on that.
It's a beautiful commentary, beautiful piece, and I agree with a lot of those sentiments. So thank you for sharing the background on that. There are still a few available at the time of this recording. So make sure to pick yourself up a face value JT piece before they go out, because
it's 4 left.
4 left.
Yeah.
Get a little spicy now. Gonna have to pick it up.
We'll see how it goes.
Before we wrap things up, are there any advice that you would have for any new artists entering the space, that you would any knowledge or experience that you would bestow upon them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a big thing is to not mint too quickly. You have to, and this is just based off of my experience. You have to be patient. Getting into this space can be extremely overwhelming. And I went through a process where I was like, I'm not sure if this is for me, because I did all the things incorrectly at first. I minted right away, expecting for some reason that people would buy it because there was such a craze going on at the time. I've been in this space for over a year. And at that beginning point, which was like March of this time last year, there was a little bit of a craze happening with people just scooping up NFTs left and right. And I was like, oh, let me get in on this. And nothing, it was crickets, right? Naturally, because no one knew who I was. And so I then had to kind of step back and just change my perspective, like I was saying, of, what this space is and how I fit into it. And I just started going in the spaces and talking, connecting with people. And that was the most important thing that I did. It allowed for me to truly build community here. And that word is tossed around a lot, but those who have been able to build it organically and intentionally, that word means something to them, and it means a lot to me. And just for any new artist coming out, really take the time to get to know artists, really take the time to share their work, and do it in a way that is intentional. Quote tweet and explain why you like the artwork. Don't just put like fire emojis and things like that. Just be intentional in your movements, because this is who you are. You are building your brand, you're building your name and your legacy. So you want to make sure you do things the right way, and move with intention is a big part.
I think that's some words of wisdom. Move with intention. That whether you're new or a veteran of the space, that we could all take with us. I did want to talk about, actually, before we wrap up, a little bit about you're an educator as well. You're building your community on the blockchain, but you're also assisting outside of the blockchain. Can you talk to me a little bit about your blockchain education and your NFT education that you've been doing?
Yeah. So in the fall, I really started pitching. So I used to be a full-time teacher in the Bronx, and I was a social worker before that. But then I resigned from teaching, and then I got back into it as a teaching artist for like a CBO, which is a community-based organization. And then a couple of years later, I started my own company, and now I go into schools. I get like contracts through like the Department of Ed, and I go into schools, and I've been teaching arts education, social justice education. And so this fall, with the onset of like my experience with NFTs, I started pitching pretty hard to schools about what this could mean, and the equity of giving them this knowledge, and providing the equity of this space to them, and allowing them to learn about it at such a young age. Because these kids in the Bronx, they don't get this knowledge, they don't get this information before mass adoption, and just want to provide them with the opportunity to potentially do something positive with it, whether they're an artist or they, get a summer job and they make a few bucks and they want to learn how to get into investing and what that means, and the upsides as well as the risks involved. So I'm happy to say we're in 4 schools in the Bronx now, and we're teaching NFT education. It involves them learning about the blockchains, learning about, the volatility of the market, and just learning about how they can keep themselves safe from like scams and stuff like that, but also creating artwork, minting it, and putting it up for sale. So hopefully these young artists can make a few bucks, or at the very least we can create a collection from a class and raise money for the school. So there's different levels depending on their the admin's involvement, but they will be able to mint work and put it up on exchange, which I'm excited for.
That's definitely going to be an exciting time. I look forward to seeing it. JT, I want to thank you so much for your time being here, talking about your stories, with all the 3 volumes out right now of Face Value. Can't wait to see the other 2 volumes. And again, it's so inspiring seeing you crush it on the blockchain and off the blockchain, and pushing communities forward, and really empowering those. So thank you.
Rick, I appreciate the time, man, and really thank you for thinking of me. You're a good friend, and I'm excited for all the things that you're doing as well.
Hey, likewise. Thank you so much. With that being said, thank you everyone for joining us today. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and be kind to Mother Earth. If you get a chance, go outside, do a little bit of trash cleanup, because without Mother Earth, none of the crypto, none of the fiat's gonna matter. Always, GM.